The Xeraxian warship emerged from hyperspace with a flash of blue light, its obsidian hull absorbing the sun's rays as it positioned itself in high Earth orbit. Colonel Marcus Rodriguez stood at attention in the Pentagon's Situation Room, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the live feed from orbital satellites. 25 years of flying F-16s hadn't prepared him for this moment. "Another ship just arrived, sir," announced Lieutenant Colonel Jennifer Patel, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Make that 3 more. They are establishing a defensive formation." The room hummed with tension as military leaders from around the world connected via secure channels. Rodriguez felt a familiar calm settle over him, the same steadiness that had served him well during countless combat missions. High above, the alien vessels maintained their position, until finally, the transmission came. The holographic projection materialized in every major military command center simultaneously. Supreme Commander Crixel of the Xeraxian Empire stood before them, his crystalline exoskeleton catching the light from unknown sources. "People of Earth," the alien's translated voice resonated through the room. "Your world has been monitored since you first split the atom. The time has come to formally integrate you into the galactic community." A pause, followed by what could only be described as a dismissive gesture. "Though your technological development is quaint." Rodriguez watched as the alien commander brought up visual displays of Earth's military assets. The Supreme Commander's crystalline features shifted in what appeared to be amusement as images of F-16s, F-35s, and other aircraft scrolled past. "These primitive atmospheric craft," Crixel continued, "they still rely on aerodynamic principles and chemical propulsion." A sound like grinding crystal accompanied what must have been laughter. "We ceased using such basic technologies millennia ago." The Secretary of Defense stepped forward, her voice steady. "Supreme Commander, while we appreciate your offer of integration, I assure you Earth's defensive capabilities are not to be underestimated." Yes, your nuclear weapons," Crixel responded. "Crude fusion devices. We detected those first. Rest assured, they pose no threat to our ships." The alien commander's eyes, facete like diamonds, seemed to gleam. "We've come to offer you protection and guidance, as we do for all developing worlds." Rodriguez felt his jaw tighten. He recognized conditioning when he saw it. The aliens were setting Earth up to accept a position of subservience. His mind raced back to countless hours in the cockpit, the way his fighting falcon responded like an extension of his own body. These aliens might have advanced technology, but they were making a crucial mistake: they were judging Earth's capabilities at face value. In the following hours, as diplomatic channels opened and initial contacts were established, Rodriguez was summoned to a classified briefing. General Hassan welcomed him personally. "Colonel, we need your expertise," the general said, leading him to a secure room. "The Xeraxians have proposed a friendly demonstration of military capabilities. They want to showcase the gap between our technologies." Rodriguez nodded slowly, already seeing where this was heading. "They want to prove their superiority. Make us accept their protection without question." "Exactly. But here's the thing, they are allowing us to choose the format of the demonstration. And we want you to lead our response team." A smile tugged at Rodriguez's lips as he remembered countless hours of combat maneuver training, the sophisticated electronic warfare capabilities built into modern F-16s, and the one thing aliens couldn't quantify: human ingenuity. "Sir," he replied, "I think it's time we showed our new friends that sometimes the simplest solutions are the most elegant." As night fell over the Pentagon, plans were already being set in motion. The Xeraxians had made a critical error in judgment. They assumed technological superiority guaranteed tactical superiority. But as Rodriguez reviewed the combat data from his latest training exercises, he knew better. The F-16, despite being considered primitive by alien standards, was still one of the most versatile fighting machines ever created. In the depths of the military complex, intelligence officers were already analyzing every second of footage from the alien ships, looking for patterns, weaknesses, and opportunities. Rodriguez's team worked through the night, developing strategies that would leverage every advantage they could find. The aliens thought they were setting up a simple demonstration of power. Instead, they were about to learn a lesson that military historians had documented countless times throughout human history: it's not the technology that wins battles, it's how you use it. As dawn broke over Washington, Rodriguez stood at the window of his office, watching the first rays of sunlight paint the sky. Somewhere up there, the Xeraxian ships waited, their crews probably still amused by humanity's primitive defenses. He smiled, remembering an old quote from his flight instructor: "The best pilot isn't the one with the best plane, it's the one who knows how to make their plane do the impossible." The next few days would prove just how true those words were. At Edwards Air Force Base, the California sun beat down on the tarmac as Colonel Rodriguez watched his handpicked team prepare their F-16s. Captain Devon Williams, his best electronic warfare specialist, was already running diagnostics on the upgraded systems. Nearby, Major Rashidar Khan, their tactical operations expert, studied holographic projections of the Xeraxian ships. "Their overconfidence is our advantage," Rodriguez said, approaching Khan. "What have you found?" Khan manipulated the hologram, zooming in on specific sections of the alien vessel. "Their shield geometry is consistent with their overall philosophy: complex, over-engineered. They rely entirely on energy fields and quantum barriers." She pointed to several key points. "But here's the interesting part: their sensors are calibrated for threats they consider worthy. They are looking for energy weapons, plasma torpedoes, antimatter warheads. But not old-school kinetics or electromagnetic interference," Rodriguez finished, a plan forming in his mind. The briefing room was packed an hour later. 12 pilots, the best from air forces around the world, gathered to hear the terms of the Xeraxian challenge. General Hassan stood at the podium, with Supreme Commander Crixel's hologram floating nearby. "The demonstration will take place in 3 days," Hassan announced. "The Xeraxians have proposed a series of combat exercises in the atmosphere above the Pacific Ocean. Their ships will engage in simulated combat with our aircraft." Crixel's crystalline form shifted. "We've modified our weapons to non-lethal settings, of course. When your craft are tagged, they will simply register as eliminated. We wouldn't want to damage your precious machines." The alien's tone carried that now familiar condescension. Rodriguez stepped forward. "And the rules of engagement?" "Simple," Crixel replied. 3 of our interceptors against 12 of your Apors, F-16s. The exercise will test maneuverability, targeting, and tactical thinking. Though I must warn you, our pilots have centuries of experience in void combat." As the briefing continued, Rodriguez noticed something crucial: the aliens kept focusing on their technological superiority, but said almost nothing about their actual combat doctrine. It was as if they assumed advanced technology automatically meant better tactics. Later that evening, Rodriguez gathered his team in a secure hangar. The F-16s were being modified according to their plan, with engineers working through the night. Captain Williams had devised a way to modify their electronic warfare suites to interact with alien systems in unexpected ways. "Their shields operate on predictable frequencies," Williams explained, pointing to his calculations. "They are not designed to adapt to rapidly changing threats. They've never had to." Major Khan added her insights: "Their combat formations are textbook perfect, too perfect. They follow mathematical patterns that any AI would consider optimal. But that makes them predictable." Rodriguez nodded, remembering countless dogfights where the difference between victory and defeat came down to doing the unexpected. "They are fighting the last war," he said. "They've evolved their technology but stopped evolving their tactics. They expect us to engage them on their terms." The next 2 days were intense. The pilots ran countless simulations, practicing maneuvers that would have been considered reckless in conventional combat. They weren't trying to match the aliens' technology, they were preparing to upend their entire concept of aerial warfare. The modifications to the F-16s continued around the clock. Engineers installed specialized electronic warfare pods designed to exploit the frequencies Khan had identified. Their weapons systems were calibrated to fire special training rounds that, while harmless, would create electromagnetic pulses that could interact with alien sensors in interesting ways. On the evening before the challenge, Rodriguez sat in his office, reviewing footage of Xeraxian ships in motion. Their movements were precise, efficient, and utterly predictable. They moved like machines following optimal patterns, not like warriors adapting to chaos. A knock at his door revealed Captain Williams. "Sir, you should see this," he said, laying out new sensor data. Their ship's energy signatures spike in a regular pattern. They are cycling their shields at intervals we can predict. Rodriguez studied the data, a smile forming. They are so confident in their superiority that they are not even trying to mask their operational patterns. He looked up at Williams. "How precise is your timing system?" "Down to the millisecond, sir. If you're thinking what I think you're thinking. Tomorrow, we show them why humanity hasn't survived this long by accident," Rodriguez said. "Get some rest, Captain. We're about to give our alien friends a lesson in human ingenuity." As midnight approached, Rodriguez walked the flight line one last time. The F-16 sat ready, their modified systems hiding capabilities the Zeraxians couldn't imagine. These weren't just aircraft anymore, they were proof that humanity's greatest strength wasn't its technology, but its ability to adapt and overcome. In high orbit, the Zeraxian ships maintained their perfect formation, their crews probably already celebrating their anticipated victory. They had no idea that their carefully maintained image of superiority was about to be shattered by the very primitives they'd dismissed. Dawn would bring a demonstration, but not the one the Zeraxians expected. It would show them why Earth's defenders, especially its F-16 pilots, had earned their place among the stars, not through overwhelming technology, but through the uniquely human combination of skill, innovation, and the audacity to attempt the impossible. Dawn broke over the Pacific Ocean, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. 12 F-16s sat on the deck of the USS Gerald R. Ford, their modified frames gleaming in the early morning light. In the lead aircraft, Colonel Rodriguez completed his pre-flight checks, the familiar routine keeping his nerves steady. "All wings, sound off," he commanded over the secure channel. One by one, his pilots reported ready. The roster represented the best of Earth's air forces: American, British, Indian, Japanese, Brazilian, and more. Today, they flew not for their nations, but for all of humanity. High above, 3 Zeraxian interceptors descended through the atmosphere, their crystalline hulls catching the sunlight like falling stars. Supreme Commander Crixel's voice echoed through the radio, "We're transmitting the exercise parameters now. The engagement zone is a 100 km³ of airspace, starting 5 kilometers above sea level." "Acknowledged," Rodriguez responded, his voice calm. "All wings, launch sequence Alpha." The F-16s took off in perfect formation, their engines roaring defiance against the alien ships that waited above. As they climbed, Rodriguez watched his tactical display. The Zeraxian vessels moved exactly as predicted, a perfect triangular formation that any combat computer would consider optimal. "Remember the plan," he transmitted to his team. "They are expecting a conventional engagement. Let's show them how humans fight." At 20,000 feet, the dance began. The Zeraxian ships dropped into attack position, their energy weapons charging. "Primitive craft," the alien commander's voice dripped with amusement, "you may commence your attack run." Rodriguez smiled beneath his oxygen mask. "All wings, chaos protocol." The F-16 formation exploded apart like a firework, each plane taking a different vector. The maneuvers they executed would have been considered insane in any normal combat situation, but this was far from normal. Captain Williams' voice crackled over the radio, "Electronic warfare suites active. Broadcasting on all identified frequencies." The effect was immediate. The Zeraxian ship's perfect formation wavered as their sensors were bombarded with conflicting data. Their shield harmonics, so precisely calibrated, began to fluctuate as they tried to adapt to the unexpected electronic assault. "Impossible," one of the alien pilots transmitted. "Their primitive systems shouldn't be able to." The rest of the transmission was lost as Major Khan led her wing of F-16s through a series of maneuvers that brought them within meters of the alien ship's shield perimeters. The Zeraxians, trained to fight at proper combat distances, reacted with surprise to the close-range engagement. "Now," Rodriguez ordered. "Pattern Delta." The F-16s released their modified training rounds, not at the alien ships, but in carefully calculated patterns around them. Each round detonated in a precise sequence, creating an electromagnetic web that interfered with the Xeraxians' shield cycling. Their shields are adapting, Williams reported. But they are following the predicted patterns. Timing mark in 3, 2, 1. On his mark, all 12 F-16s executed a maneuver that would have torn apart lesser aircraft. They dove through gaps in the alien shields that existed for microseconds during their recycle sequence, gaps that only appeared because the Xeraxians had never bothered to modify their predictable defense patterns. Direct hits registered on all 3 interceptors, Khan announced. Their combat computers are registering them as disabled. The Xeraxian ships hung in the air, their systems temporarily scrambled by the precise electronic warfare attack. Supreme Commander Crixel's voice, when it came through, had lost its condescending tone. This is not possible. Your technology is inferior. Rodriguez barrel-rolled his F-16 past the alien commander's vessel, close enough to see the crystalline panels of its hull. Technology isn't everything, Commander. While you were relying on superior systems, we were learning to adapt, to improvise, to overcome. The 12 F-16s regrouped, forming a new formation that surrounded the alien vessels. It was a clear demonstration of their victory, but Rodriguez wasn't finished. All wings, demonstrate Program Omega. What followed was 5 minutes of the most precise flying ever witnessed in Earth's atmosphere. The F-16s moved in patterns that seemed to defy physics, exploiting every capability of their aircraft in ways the designers had never imagined. They weren't just showing off, they were demonstrating that humanity's mastery of aerial combat extended far beyond mere technology. How? Crixel demanded. Our combat computers show these maneuvers should be impossible with your level of technology. Major Khan's voice carried a hint of pride. That's because we're not letting computers do our thinking for us, Commander. Every move you've seen was performed by human pilots who've spent years mastering their craft. The demonstration concluded with the F-16s escorting the Xeraxian ships back to their designated holding position. As they descended for landing, Rodriguez transmitted one final message: Commander Crixel, you came here expecting to find primitives playing with toys. Instead, you found warriors who've turned their primitive tools into art forms. Perhaps it's time to reconsider your assessment of Earth's capabilities. Back on the carrier deck, as the pilots emerged from their cockpits, the mood was electric. They had done more than win a simulated battle, they had shattered the aliens' preconceptions about human capabilities. General Hassan's voice came through on the command channel: Colonel Rodriguez, the Xeraxian High Command is requesting an immediate conference. It seems our demonstration has attracted attention far beyond this solar system. Rodriguez looked at his team, Williams, Khan, and all the others who had helped prove that humanity's strength lay not in the sophistication of its weapons, but in the creativity and determination of its people. Tell them we'll be happy to demonstrate more of our primitive capabilities at their convenience. As the sun reached its zenith, the F-16 stood proud on the carrier deck, their modified systems cooling in the ocean breeze. They were no longer just fighter aircraft, they had become symbols of humanity's refusal to be underestimated, proof that innovation and skill could triumph over pure technological superiority. The Pentagon's secure conference room hummed with tension as holograms of various alien dignitaries flickered into existence. Colonel Rodriguez stood beside General Hassan, watching as Supreme Commander Crixel's crystalline form materialized, notably less imposing than during their first encounter. The demonstration has caused quite a stir in the Galactic Council, Crixel began, his tone markedly different from his earlier condescension. Several member species are questioning our initial assessment of Earth's military capabilities. Perhaps, General Hassan replied diplomatically, this presents an opportunity for a more equitable discussion about Earth's place in the galactic community. Rodriguez studied the other alien representatives. Among them was Ambassador Nexa of the Centaurian Alliance, their biomechanical form showing signs of intense interest. We observed the combat footage, Nexa's synthesized voice carried across the room. Your pilots achieved things with basic atmospheric craft that our best void warriors struggled to replicate with quantum ships. Captain Williams and Major Khan, now seated at the conference table, exchanged knowing glances. Their analysis of alien combat doctrine had proven crucial to their victory, and now they were watching the diplomatic fruits of their labor unfold. "We would like to propose a series of joint military exercises," another alien representative, this one from the Arcturus Confederation, suggested. "Not as a test, but as an exchange of tactical knowledge." Rodriguez stepped forward. "Before we discuss military cooperation, let's address the elephant in the room. Your initial approach to Earth was based on the assumption that technological superiority equals military superiority. Today proved otherwise." The room fell silent as holographic displays activated, showing footage from the demonstration. The F-16s danced through the sky, executing maneuvers that had the alien representatives leaning forward in their seats. What they saw wasn't just skilled flying, it was the culmination of centuries of human military evolution. "Your craft," Crixel observed, "they are not just machines, are they? They are extensions of your pilot's will. We've never seen such intuitive combat coordination." Major Khan activated her tactical display. "While you've focused on advancing technology, we've focused on advancing the connection between pilot and machine. Our F-16s might be primitive by your standards, but in the right hands, they are capable of things your combat computers consider impossible." The diplomatic discussion shifted as footage showed the electronic warfare tactics that had disrupted the Xeraxian shields. Captain Williams explained, "We didn't try to overpower your defenses. We studied them, understood them, and found ways to work around them using technology you considered obsolete." Ambassador Nexa's biomechanical form pulsed with interest. "This demonstrates a fundamental difference in approach. Our civilizations have become reliant on automated systems and AI tactical computers. You've maintained the human element in warfare, achieving unprecedented synthesis between organic intuition and mechanical capability." General Hassan seized the moment. "Then perhaps it's time to discuss a new framework for Earth's integration into the galactic community. Not as a protectorate, but as an equal partner with unique military and tactical expertise to contribute." The alien representatives conferred among themselves, their various forms shifting and changing as they communicated in ways human senses couldn't fully perceive. Finally, Crixel spoke again, his crystalline structure reflecting light in patterns that suggested respect rather than condescension. "The Galactic Council proposes the establishment of a joint military innovation command. Earth's tactical expertise, combined with our advanced technology, could revolutionize space combat doctrine throughout known space." Rodriguez smiled. "And Earth's sovereignty fully recognized," Crixel confirmed. "Your demonstration made it clear that humanity has earned its place among the stars. Several council members are already expressing interest in learning your combat techniques." As the meeting progressed, screens displayed proposed joint training facilities, technology exchange protocols, and defensive cooperation agreements. Earth wasn't just gaining recognition, it was positioning itself as a crucial player in galactic military development. Later that evening, as Rodriguez walked through the hangar where the F-16s were being maintained, he found his team already analyzing data from the demonstration. Engineers and pilots from a dozen nations worked alongside newly arrived alien technical observers, all studying the way human innovation had transformed obsolete technology into something revolutionary. "They still can't quite believe it," Williams said, approaching his commander. "Their sensors recorded everything we did, but their combat computers are still insisting some of those maneuvers should have been impossible." Khan joined them, holding a holographic display showing new tactical simulations. "The Arcturus Confederation has already requested permission to send their top pilots for training. They want to learn our primitive combat techniques." Rodriguez watched as alien observers circled one of the F-16s, their various scanning devices trying to unravel the mystery of how such a simple machine could have accomplished what it did. "Sometimes the oldest solutions are the best ones," he mused. "We didn't win because our technology was better. We won because we never stopped pushing the boundaries of what's possible with what we have." The next few days saw a flurry of diplomatic activity as Earth's position in the galactic community underwent a dramatic shift. The F-16, once dismissed as an obsolete atmospheric fighter, became a symbol of humanity's unique approach to warfare, a perfect blend of human intuition and mechanical precision. Military attachés from across the galaxy arrived to study not just the aircraft, but the pilots who flew them. They were beginning to understand that Earth's true strength lay not in its weapons, but in its warriors, men and women who had turned the art of flight into something that transcended mere technology. As the sun set over Edwards Air Force Base, Rodriguez stood watching as a group of alien pilots received their first briefing on F-16 flight characteristics. The universe had expected to find primitives playing with toys. Instead, they found masters of aerial combat ready to teach the galaxy a new way of fighting. "Sir," a young lieutenant called out, "the Centaurian delegation is requesting a demonstration of close-quarters combat maneuvers." Rodriguez nodded, a slight smile crossing his face. "Tell them to watch closely. They are about to learn why humans never stopped believing in the power of the pilot." 1 year after the demonstration that changed Earth's galactic standing, the skies above Nevada's desert were alive with an unprecedented sight. F-16s flew in formation alongside crystalline Xeraxian interceptors and biomechanical Centaurian fighters, performing maneuvers that merged human intuition with alien technology. The Joint Galactic Combat Training Center, once Area 51, had become the most prestigious military academy in known space. Colonel Rodriguez, now General Rodriguez, stood in the new control tower, watching as Captain Williams led a mixed squadron through a series of combat drills. Beside him, Supreme Commander Crixel observed with his crystalline features arranged in what humans had learned was an expression of amazement. "In one Earth year," Crixel mused, "your training methods have revolutionized combat doctrine across 17 star systems. The integration of human tactical thinking with our technology has produced results that our most advanced AI systems never predicted." Rodriguez watched as an F-16, piloted by Major Khan, performed a seemingly impossible maneuver that the alien ships quickly mimicked. "We've learned from each other," he replied. "Your technology has helped us push the boundaries of what's possible, while our approach to combat has shown you new ways to use that technology." The command center hummed with activity as representatives from dozens of alien species monitored the training exercises. Earth had become the galaxy's center for military innovation, but the changes went far beyond combat techniques. Ambassador Nexar approached, their biomechanical form having adopted some human mannerisms over the past year. "The Galactic Council's annual report is ready," they announced. "Earth's influence has extended far beyond military matters." The holographic display activated, showing statistics that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. Human pilots were now highly sought after as instructors throughout the galaxy. The principles of Earth's combat training had been adapted for everything from space trade route navigation to planetary defense systems. The most significant change, Nexar continued, has been in how the galactic community approaches technological development. "Your success with the F-16s proved that advancement doesn't always mean abandoning proven systems, sometimes it means pushing existing technology to its absolute limits." Outside, a new group of alien cadets was gathering for their first close look at an F-16. The fighter that had once been dismissed as primitive was now considered required study for any serious military pilot in the galaxy. But it wasn't just the aircraft they came to learn about, it was the human philosophy behind it. "General," a young lieutenant called out, "the Arcturus Defense Fleet is reporting another successful implementation of human-inspired tactics. Their new hybrid squadrons have achieved combat effectiveness ratings that exceed all previous records." Rodriguez nodded, remembering the days when Earth had stood alone, seemingly primitive compared to the advanced civilizations that now sought their guidance. The latest designs of alien ships showed clear human influence, cockpits optimized for organic pilot control rather than AI automation, systems that emphasized adaptability over raw power. Major Khan entered the command center, fresh from her training flight. "The new integrated combat protocols are exceeding expectations," she reported. "The alien pilots are finally understanding that combat isn't just about technology, it's about instinct, creativity, and the willingness to try the impossible." The afternoon brought a special demonstration that symbolized how far things had come. A formation of 12 ships, for F-16s, for Xeraxian interceptors, and for Centaurian fighters, performed a complex battle scenario. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, each species contributing its unique strengths to create something entirely new. "We were so wrong about Earth," Crixel admitted as they watched. "We thought we were coming to protect a primitive world. Instead, we found teachers who showed us what we had forgotten in our rush to advance technology: the importance of the warrior spirit." The demonstration concluded with a new maneuver that had been impossible before: the human-alien collaboration, a complex interaction of Earth's combat techniques and alien technology that had been named the Rodriguez Spiral in honor of its inventor. As evening approached, Rodriguez attended a ceremony in the newly constructed Galactic Military Council chamber. Earth was being appointed to lead a new initiative: the integration of organic combat wisdom with advanced technology across all member species' military forces. 1 year ago, Rodriguez addressed the assembled delegates: "We showed you what an obsolete fighter could do in the hands of pilots who understood its true potential. Today, we're showing the galaxy that the future of combat lies not in removing the organic element, but in perfecting the partnership between pilot and machine." The chamber erupted in approval, a cacophony of sounds from dozens of alien species who had learned to respect and admire Earth's contribution to galactic military science. But Rodriguez knew this was just the beginning. Later that night, as the stars emerged over the desert, Rodriguez stood on the observation deck watching as the next generation of pilots, human and alien alike, prepared for their evening training flights. The F-16s had been upgraded with carefully chosen alien technology, creating hybrid fighters that represented the perfect balance of human ingenuity and galactic advancement. Captain Williams joined him, holding a datapad showing the latest training results. "It's amazing how far we've come," she said. "The aliens aren't just learning our techniques anymore, they are beginning to understand our way of thinking. They are learning to trust their instincts, to push boundaries, to think beyond what their computers tell them is possible." Rodriguez smiled as he watched an alien cadet perfectly execute a maneuver that, just a year ago, the entire galaxy had considered impossible. "We didn't just prove ourselves to the galaxy," he replied. "We reminded them of something they'd forgotten in their race for technological advancement: that the greatest weapon in any arsenal isn't the machine, but the mind and spirit of the warrior who wields it." As night fell over the training center, the lights of ships from a dozen worlds illuminated the sky. Earth had found its place among the stars not by matching alien technology, but by showing the galaxy that true advancement comes from the perfect balance of human spirit and mechanical capability. The F-16, once mocked as primitive, had become the symbol of a new era in galactic military doctrine, a reminder that sometimes the oldest lessons are the most valuable.